We got to quit meeting like this. This is, hi, I'm Dorothy Wilhelm, and we are swimming upstream. This is the Swimming Upstream Radio Show. And I just want to tell you, my very special guest today is Allen Klein, who has promised to be wearing his bathrobe for the interview. I don't know if he is or not. Allen, my darling, how are you?
I'm not in my bathrobe. I actually got dressed.
Well, and you look very dapper, but I was looking forward to the bathrobe. So,
Oh, wow.
And we now, Allen and I, we're kind of one of these things where we really are old friends. But Allen is kind of caught fire along the lines somewhere, and he is a humorous keynote and conference convention speaker. He is a workshop leader. He is a best-selling author, and that isn't all. He is a therapeutic humor expert and a motivational humorist. But that isn't the really big thing, is that he is, as far as I know, the world's only Jollytologist. Is that
You got it right. World's only Jollytologist. And guess what, Dorothy? I just looked that up on the all-knowing AI.
Yes.
And I looked up what is a Jollytologist. And it said, and I love this, and I'm going to use it from now on. It said, a Jollytologist is a scientist of joy.
Oh, wow.
So I'm a scientist of joy now.
You've always been. You just didn't know what it was called.
Yeah, now AI told me what it is.
When you think about it, we've been doing this 45 years or so. And I think you obviously see, notice how I'm at a loss for words. It's so big. People need joy more now than they ever have.
Right.
They don't all know they do.
Right.
You can bring them something happy. It just makes a big difference. But I think for us, when we first met through the National Speakers Association, and we had just both lost our spouses, we were looking for where joy came from. I think for where there was some joy. But did you, along those ways, as you were getting developed as a speaker, did you get any good advice? Did you get anything that would help you go?
Yeah, well, the best advice I ever got in my life was from my mother, and it goes way, way back. When I was 7 years old, I went to see my first Broadway show, Oklahoma, and I was so excited about it that 2 weeks later, they took me to see my second show, Carousel. And we came in late, and they had to drag me out of the theater because I thought, like a movie, Dorothy, I could see the beginning again. I could just sit there and it would play again. They said, no, it's live theater. And they dragged me out. But those two shows totally influenced my life. And I said, I want to be a scenic designer. I want to make those pretty stage pictures. And I went back to school and I took a shoebox or a cigar box, and I would make a little diorama of the book that we were reading instead of doing a book report. So I was kind of a scenic designer when I was 7, 8 years old. But anyhow, I got into Yale Drama School to be a designer, probably the biggest and best theater school in the country at that time. And it's a 3-year master's, and I was kicked out after the first year. I was told I had no talent. And I called my mom on the phone and I cried. I said, I've been wanting to be a designer since I was 7. And they said I had no talent. And she said, and this is the best advice I ever got, is everything will turn out okay. And, she was right, because I went back to New York City. I start doing off-Broadway shows. I got into the Scenic Design Union, which is a very difficult union to get into. I got a job at CBS Television. I was designing such shows as Captain Kangaroo, Merv Griffin, Jackie Gleason Show. And guess what, Dorothy? My fellow classmates, it was still the end of their third term. They were still in college, and I was doing shows that was seen all across the world.
So mom was right.
Mom was right that, and what I realize is we're often in that moment that terrible, we feel like it's terrible, why is this happening to me? But down the road, you can't see what's going to happen to you down the road. So you
We,
think this is terrible for life, but often those not so great things turn out to be pretty good.
well, and I don't know whether you know this, but you gave some good advice that has helped me right along through the years. When uh, and usually I tell my group when we start, I'm dealing with Parkinson's disease, and so I'm going to forget. And you will know I never forget what I'm going to say. But if I do, just ask me a question or two, or give us a little bit of an answer or something. Because damn it, I'm not quitting.
Okay.
So anyway, but you remember in your book, The Healing Power of Humor, which came out what about 3-4 years after.
Yeah, it came out in 1989, and talking about best advice and that things will turn out okay. So my wife and I lived in New York City, and she was from San Francisco. And I always wanted to move here because it was such a great city, and I wanted a Victorian house. And we finally moved there. We got the house. And as soon as we got the house, we found out she had a rare liver disease, primary biliary cirrhosis. And that time there was no liver transplants,
Right.
there was no cure. And Ellen did pass away 3 years later. And I thought, I had a 10-year-old daughter at the time, and I thought, why did this happen to me? This is awful. I felt like I can't go on living. And yet I remember her humor. I remember we'd laugh a lot together, and it would help us cope and get through stuff that we didn't particularly want. And so we were in the hospital, and she had a copy of Playgirl magazine with the male nude centerfold. And she said, Alan, I really like this picture this month. Can you put this centerfold on the wall over there? And I said, Ellen, this is a hospital. A little too risque for that. She said, well, all right. She said, why don't you just hang it, take a leaf and cover up that part.
And
And I did that. And Dorothy, things are fine for the first day, fine for the second day. But by the third day, the leaves start shriveling up. And I realized how powerful humor was, even in the dark times. And that's when I went back to school. I got a master's degree in human development. And my thesis was The Healing Power of Humor, which turned into my first book. So
I do just want to say about that, though. Yeah, I'll give you another chance. But I do want to say that at the end of the book, you tell about how Ellen said to you when you were, as we both were, so spun up in the day's activities and the worry and how are we going to manage. And she said, hey, I'm still here. And to me, that's been one of my greatest life lessons is I'm still here. We're still, we don't get, blown away.
Yeah.
So I
Every day is such a gift, it just at our age, it's oh my God. I had eye surgery last week, and I was amazed. This was laser, but the surgery before, they put a little tube in my I have glaucoma, little tube in my eye, like the size of a hair, to drain the fluid. And I don't feel the tube, it's there. Science is so amazing. And I think it's why we're still here.
Well, that too, and you look great, I got to tell you. But I think that yes, how to keep working. We're both still working. I do know I'm the only person here still working full time, and what do you think gives you what in the world are we doing this for? Of course, you're still a jollytologist. You're still a scientist of joy. Who,
Right. And,
who's your target
yeah.
market?
And I realize my real job is to bring joy to people. If I'm a scientist of joy, then my job is to bring joy to people every day. And so I've been developing more and more ways to do that. I walk my dog every morning, and people, they're going to work and they're passing me. Most of them are on their phones, don't even look up, right? And so now I play this little game when I walk my dog. I say good morning to them, and then I count how many of them respond back or how many of them just keep walking on without saying anything. And so I try to win the game every morning by getting as many people as I can to say good morning back.
And how many, but see, and actually, since with people that are tuned in, can you give a couple or three other things that everybody might try every day to bring joy?
Well, one of my favorite things is a red clown nose,
I
because
know too.
you put this on and you cannot stay too serious. You're in a traffic jam, carry one of these in your car and look in the rearview mirror. Or look around you, you'll make other people smile and laugh too. I mean, it's a silly little nothing, little rubber thing, but it's amazing the stories I get of how it's changed people's lives, and just lighten up the moment. That's the best you could do.
You,
On
you,
birthdays, I often carry around I don't have one right in front of me, but a rubber duck with a party hat on and a
that
little
was,
birthday cake. And I give that to people whose birthdays it is. And I'll tell you, I said I had eye surgery. When I was in the recovery room, I woke up and there was a line of rubber ducks on the counter.
oh,
And I said, oh my God, what are those? And they say, I don't know, people bring them to us sometime. And I said, oh, I have my own.
yeah.
Is anyone's birthday here? And the woman in the next room, one of the nurses said, it was my birthday yesterday. I said, well, come here and take this little duck. And it got added to the line of ducks. So just that little thing, she was like showing it to other people. She just got a little rubber ducky for her birthday. It's such a simple thing to lighten up. You don't have to know a joke. You don't have to know a story. You just have a little prop to help people lighten up.
That really is true. And what do you think, looking back, what do you know now that you didn't know at the very beginning?
Uh, you know, um, Again, I harp back to my mom's, everything will turn out all right. Because there
Huh?
was so many times in my life that I thought, oh, this is awful, Or as a professional speaker, big job that I really wanted, and they promised it to me, and then they got a new meeting planner and she had some other favorite speaker.
Right. Oh, oh,
So
I've
many,
been there. I've been there.
yeah. There's just so many things in life that are disappointing. And so my mom was right. It always turned out for the best.
Well,
Uh,
and that kind of brings us to, we have an exciting thing to talk about is now you, my dear friend, are the subject of a documentary. How did you do that? And
I have to pinch myself because there is a PBS documentary in the works right now. It's being edited as we speak. And that all just came to me because 2 years ago, I gave myself a big birthday party, and it was all about growing up with Broadway shows. And I told a story about how the music influenced me, and I had singers and pianists and all do the songs in that show. And in the audience was someone who works in the movies. And a couple of months later, she said, your life has been so exciting. I think it should be a documentary movie. And she introduced me to several documentarians, and one really clicked. She has on PBS, she has several right now. And we've been working on this for over a year. And Dorothy, it just came to me. People say, well, your whole history of your life, and you've been helping people all your life. And it didn't just come to me. But that's true. But so many other people deserve a documentary. You, for example, you've had an incredible life and helping people. But somehow it came to me. I don't know why, but I am so grateful.
Well,
I
give
am.
them my name, won't you?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So if people, can I just say, if people want to see a little 4-minute clip, because documentary's not quite finished, but they can see a little preview. If they
Well,
just go online to thejollyfilm.com,
that's
thejollyfilm.com, they can see the little 4-minute piece.
Ellen, my dear, they're going to get to see that at the end of today's show, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, they can see it twice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, when will the documentary come out?
Okay, don't hold your breath. It takes a long time. It's got to be in film festivals first. Well, first it's got to be finished.
And what did you do cute how did you what did you do? Did they just follow you around, take pictures of you?
So just let me say, it'll be a year before it's on PBS. But yeah, they came to my house for 2 weekends. Then my daughter was involved. My husband David was involved, and they took pictures. And then I had to provide them with, tons of research and pictures and letters and testimonials and stories. So I put everything else aside. This was like writing a book about my life to gather all this. And then they chose what they're going to use. And then we're still talking about, well, I think I have a better picture than that. Or they're going to come to the house again and do some B rolls, which
B-roll,
is, yeah. So, and then the film has to be colorized and sound, whatever, cleaned up, and music added to it. And so it's a lot. That 4-minute preview, it took 3 months and 6 people to put that together. So it's produced, it's amazing.
Well, listen, let's not talk about it. Let's show them. Can you do like the fairy in the old TV thing? 1, 2, 3.
I am Allen Klein, so I call myself a Jollytologist. It is registered, so don't steal it. I like laughing. I'm really handsome. How's my hair? I'm talented, and I'm kind. I was once in the men's room with Robert Redford. Do you want to know more? I grew up in the Bronx, New York, and we were middle class. My parents were not big Broadway theater attendees, but they took me to see my first Broadway show at 7 years old, Oklahoma. I loved it so much, they had to drag me kicking and screaming out of the theater. So from that day on, I wanted to be the person who made those pretty stage pictures. And I went to Yale Drama School. And the head of the school said I had no talent, basically, and I was kicked out after the first year. And I called my mom, I remember on the phone crying, and she said, Allen, everything usually works out for the best. I didn't believe her. So I went back to New York City. I got into the Scenic Design Union, and I got a job at CBS Television as an apprentice and then as a full designer. Captain Kangaroo was one of my shows. Merv Griffin, Jackie Gleason. I was doing national TV shows, and my fellow Yale students were still doing college productions. So my mom was right, everything worked out for the best. Ellen was my wife. I met her in New York, and we hit it off. We had $25 phone calls every day. I thought it's going to be cheaper to ask her to marry me than these phone calls. And I thought, anyone with such chutzpah, I think this is the person. And we got married and had Sarah. I was gay in the marriage, and Ellen supported me in that, in coming out. And I was really fortunate about that. shortly afterwards, Ellen got a rare liver disease. I still remember there was one moment of laughter. She was in the hospital, and I had a copy of Playgirl magazine with the male nude centerfold, and she said, "Can you put this nude man on the wall over there?" And I said, "Ellen, this is a hospital. A little risque for that." She said, "Well, maybe you're right." She said, "Why don't you get a leaf from the plant over there?" I did that, and then put it in the right spot, and things are fine for the first day, fine for the second day, but by the third day, the leaves start shriveling up. There was lots of tears, but also when we would think of that moment, we would start to laugh. And I realized after Ellen died how vital humor was, even in those very, very difficult situations. And I thought nobody was talking about the power of humor in challenging times. Went back to school to learn about death and dying, and my thesis was The Healing Power of Humor, which became my first book. So everyone in my workshop, we do a whole process, close their eyes, ask them to think about some stress, put this on, and then look around the room, and 500 people in the room with this, everyone's laughing hysterically. And then I said, "What happened to your stress?" And of course, they forgot about it because they're laughing. One thing I wish I had known when I was younger, that everything would be okay. That even when tragedy happens, you can work through it. You can get through it. It will be okay.
And now we are down to the last, say, 4 minutes of the show. And so I am looking for you to say something so profound. Oh
my God, you put me on the spot.
I love doing that. I just love it.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe just giving some more tips is to people of how to lighten up their life,
Yeah,
because as we said, they need more joy. So, think back to what did you like to do as a child? Can you do some of that? Can you ride on a merry-go-round again? Can you go to the zoo? Can you get some bubbles? I love bubbles because
I did a whole thing. That was my thing, was bubbles on the freeway and here in Washington it slows down, and you would blow bubbles, and people
I would roll down the window and
Yes,
blow
I think
bubbles out. You know what all of these, what it's doing is actually kind of distracting you and giving a different perspective to any problems or
yeah, yes.
situations you're in. Yeah.
I think you have put your finger on the very thing, is that why, because the one thing I've gotten out of all of this is that you've got to learn something new every day. Something new has to happen that you can say, "Oh yeah, yes, yes." I actually had someone say the other day, "Oh, I'm through learning." Well, I felt so bad.
Ah,
I could have sat down and cried. I said,
yeah.
because you just can't do that.
Yeah, I have some friends that say, "Oh, I'm so bored, I have nothing to do." I said, "There is so much, there's
Yeah.
not enough time in the day." One other thing I've been doing lately, I love it. I look for faces in odd places. So if you can picture like the back of a motorcycle, the two lights,
Oh,
and
fun.
maybe the wheel is a nose, and then there's like maybe a fender that's a mouth. And I see it on the sidewalk. I see it in a tree trunk. I don't have it on I have a box of eye drops, and the end has two holes in it, and the name of the company looks just like a face.
Well, you remember when we were little, children's activities used to have those puzzles that you would see in something. And
Yeah,
so I yeah.
find the mistake. So I look for faces in odd places, and they are all over. And now what's happened, people send them to me. So I now have hundreds of
Almost,
faces in odd places.
well, it's just been so much fun having you here. We should run away together, but it would cause problems.
Where do you want to go? Where should we go?
Well, I don't know, but I'm thinking. first we were going to maybe drive to Mexico. And then someone said, we do this at dinner. We work out where we would go. And I think that's something kind of fun. It's just silly, you know. Then, well, no, rather than Mexico, perhaps we'd go to Canada because it would be fun to see someone who liked us from Canada. And they would, and I think the point here is, don't be afraid that you're too grown up or that you can't do these silly things. Is that, you know, I sing in a choir now. I can't see because, you know, with the Parkinson's, I'm going to lose my voice, and it's very, very scary. But you sing, it might help. And you'd be amazed how many people have said to me, oh, I can't sing. No one wants to hear me sing. No, I don't want to hear you sing either. But the fact is, we can do this. I can't read music, and I don't know if the director has worked that out yet, but he likes you to look up and smile at the end of and I can do that.
Great.
And so, you know,
Fabulous. Yeah, right.
all right, one more really inspirational word, and then I will. Oh, and also how to get in touch with you. Two inspirational words.
Okay, so if they want to email me, it's Allen, Allen, at Allen Klein, AllenKlein.com. And I guess I'll end with one of my quotes from my Healing Power of Humor book. And it's about our attitudes. And our attitudes are the crayons that color our world.
Ah, that's wonderful. It's been so great to see you again. Listen, I'm going to have you do the way to find your documentary.
Documentary is www.thejollyfilm, all one word, thejollyfilm.com.
Thank you so much. It's been so fun to see you. And
Thank you.
we'll just every once in a while we should do this because see, we're pretty good at this.
All right. We can do it when I'm 92. How's that?
Okay. See, here's a little difficulty. I'm going to be, you know, maybe like say 100. Well, what the
All
heck?
right, we'll celebrate 100, your 100th. Oh, let's put that on the calendar.
I'm writing it in right now,
All
Alan.
right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Thank you, my dear.
Bye.
Bye. Swimming Upstream Radio Show, and you can catch us weekly at this by the way is a product of the this is funny. I can't say the kind of radio this, but it's the Women's Radio Network, and all of the hosts are women over 50. So you can't do it. And so anyway, wonderful to be with us again next time. This is Dorothy.